Okay, boys and girls, today we're going to talk about our ESO wish list. So I've got basically three main things here. I'll try to keep this video nice and short. And in the comments section, let me know what you think of my ideas and your own ideas of things that you want to see in ESO. So first off, we'll get out of the way. Performance, we're not going to talk about that. Everyone wants performance fixed and bugs to be fixed and all that kind of stuff. So we're excluding that from this list. So first thing I would love to see in ESO is more game modes. So I'd love to see BGs reworked. I'd like to see CP introduced back into BGs. Now I think that the new CP system is a whole lot more, well, you could say underwhelming. So I think that it would actually work. Where last time it was kind of introduced into BGs, it just showed how imbalanced things were. But now that it's very underwhelming, I don't think it would have as much of an impact. And I think they need to get rid of the 4v4v4. It's dumb. It kind of was dumb always. It kind of made sense originally at the start, because it was meant to be faction versus faction versus faction. I think a lot of people kind of forget that that's what it was, but by the time it launched, it was at 110 mil. So by the time BG's come out, 110 mil would come out, and that kind of changed the way the whole game worked, and you weren't really locked into your factions anymore in PvE, like more so. So if you remember, those that used to play this game, if you're EP, you couldn't actually PvP with your PvE, sorry, with your uh, with another faction's Fred. So if your Fred was AD and you were EP, you couldn't actually do PvE content, and that obviously changed in 110 mil, and they decided to go with whatever the BG teams are. So I think just reworking BGs in general would be really nice. And seeing different formats like 6v6s, 2v2s, 1v1s, I still to this day don't understand why we don't have the ability to activate a duel against any number of people. So if you've got a four-man, you want to fight another four-man, the group leads initiate a duel, the game lets you accept the duel, and then it's a 4v4, or it's a 12v12, or it could be a 4v8 if you want to make a point and fight, a lot of weaker people. Yeah, I just don't understand why we don't have that, because from a coding aspect, it surely can't take that much work to do it when we already have duels. As long as the two group leads accept the duel, then it should just, be a thing. So the last thing I'll talk about new game modes. I'd love to see like a capture the keep kind of thing. So you take two keeps and you throw two teams of 12, two teams of 24, or whatever it may be, and you've got 20 minutes or half an hour or an hour, whatever they kind of decide it to be, to try and capture the other team's keep, while trying to have to defend your own keep kind of thing. So it brings in some really good tactics. Do you take your whole team to try and capture the other keep, or do you leave half your team to defend, half your team to go offense? I think it would just bring in some really cool tactics and group play and organization into the game and into PvP. Um, and they can reuse assets that are already in the game, and that's something that I think they should really do. They've got a lot of assets in the game already. Just reuse them. There's no need to recode all this stuff, remake new stuff. Just cut an area out of Cyrodiil and throw people on there. So yeah, that's the first thing I'd like to see. The second is I'd love to see a fourth faction. Um, and what I mean by this is don't add in a fourth home base and keeps and all that kind of stuff. Leave Cyrodiil exactly the same. Throw in a fourth faction, and basically they're not part of any alliance. They are their own faction. They can still take keeps and do that kind of stuff. But they can fight AD, EP, and DC, and they can even fight each other if, say, they weren't grouped. So basically, the way I'd like to see it done is if you're grouped with, 6 of your friends, you are your own faction. You can fight everyone else you run into, and I'd settle for just having a fourth faction and, you can't kill people on that fourth faction. I'd settle for that, but I think it'd be really cool just to, have it grouped and, if you're grouped, that's your team and you can fight anyone on the map. There's not much more to say about that. I think it'd just be really cool to have it that way for solo small scalers to kind of have their own little faction and be able to fight, because that's the worst thing, like, it'd be really easy for, and better for solo small scalers, because, we'd just all go that fourth faction, and then we wouldn't have to worry about being able to play with our friends. We wouldn't have to worry about, always being on the Zergy faction and stuff like that, because with faction lock, it's really annoying. You swap campaigns, swap factions, and everyone else swaps too, and you end up on the Zergy faction again. So, anyway, and I kind of thinking of my third thing. It was kind of hard for me, but I think I would love to see a sword and board equivalent. I don't think the game needs a new race, a new class, sorry. I know a lot of people want to see a new class. I don't think the game needs that balance-wise. I think they've got their work cut out as it is. But I would love to see a new weapon, and I think a sword and board equivalent for Magic would be really cool. I think it would help Magic get on level with stamina for solo PvP, and I know, sword and board does work on Magic builds. I know Ice Staff is kind of a thing. But I think the overarching thing is I'd like to see Magic be more on the level of Stam for solo, because I do really enjoy Magic, but they are just so far behind Stam in so many ways, and they have been for so long that I would love to see them back on par. And as far as any other things that I kind of would love to see in this game, I know one controversial thing is I'd love to see arena weapons, and basically any gear in the game be achievable through PvP. And I know that all the PvEers are gonna go, yeah, no, that's a joke. If you want the gear, you've got to do the content. But I know for a split second that if there was gear in the game that PvE is needed to be able to do trials or to be able to do endgame PvE content, and they had to come in and do PvP, that they would be wanting the same thing. So I think it's fair. We do have it pretty well. It's basically arena weapons and monster helms are the two things, and we do have the golden vendor that we do get monster helms, but it's not really that reliable, and you're waiting on RNG basically to get your monster helms. And arena weapons, full stop, you can't get them. So I think having them accessible with AP, I'd be happy if it was 3 or 4 or 5 million AP for an arena weapon. I think that would be fine. So you can't just go and get it like that. You've got to work for it, but you can get it by doing what you want to do in the game, and that's PvP. And as I said, PvEers would cry on the forums left, right, and center if there was gear that they needed. And there is some PvP gear that is used in PvE, but you can buy it on vendors. So yeah, that's my ESO wish list, boys and girls. I would like to hear in the comments what you guys would love to see in ESO. Besides performance issues, obviously we all know that we want that fixed. So anyway, leave in the comments your let's say three things you would like to see in ESO. And I'll catch you next time, boys and girls. I'm just about to stream, so anyone that's seeing this video, if you want to jump in and let me know on stream what your wish list is, that would be cool too. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.